Hi, everyone. I wanted to continue the process of adding records and finding record hints from a person's page, and then also showing you how you'd go from that person's page into Family Search. So I'm going to share my screen with you and talking about Frank Porter, who was the informant on his mother's death certificate, which helped us to identify that Martha was actually Patty. So her name was Martha Howie and Mary J.M. Porter. And so her son was Frank Porter. So what I'm going to do here is open up the source. I'm on Frank Porter's page right here. He was born in 1899, deceased, that's his ID number, and we're on the sources tab right here. So I'm going to open up the source, and as I scroll down, you can see down here below that there is a similar historical record. That record is not on his front page as a record hint. So I want to see, this looks pretty much like it could be him. Notice that it's got a J in front of the Frank, so that might give me more information. So I want to look at this 1900 census and see what it includes. J. Frank Porter in 1900 is 2 years old, which they're estimating his birthday as March 1898. And that would be very similar to what we have. And his father is James M. Porter and Patty C. Porter. And we knew that his father was J.M. Porter. So that gives us a full first name for him. And then that's his mother, Patty, gives us an additional middle initial C. And then his sister, who we already had on the previous 1920 census. But it also gives us another child that they had. So this gave us a lot more information, being able to find an additional record. Notice right here, as I have opened this similar historical record, then it's the computer is saying, okay, if that is true, then this could be true. And here's other similar historical records. You can see J. Frank Porter in the 1910 census, Joseph Franklin Porter Sr. in North Carolina deaths. So that could very well be him as an older man, which may give us a clue that he had a son, and they called him a senior. And there's another death and burial. And here's a J. Frank Porter for North Carolina marriages, another marriage record. And then that's the 1920 census. So this we can see, oh, that is attached to the same guy we had. We had his birth as 1899, but they're actually giving us his birth date of March 1898. So we'll want to make a note of that as we go forward in our records and be able to make sure that we identify that March of 1898. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and attach this record, review and attach. And the page that comes up, I want to make sure that you understand, is the source linker. It will say it up there in the title of the address. This is where we have historical records on the left, and we have what we have in Family Tree on the right. Now they're wanting to give us a clue of saying, who should this be attached to? We didn't actually come from the front of Frank Porter's page, so they're giving us a variety of people that we just recently looked at. We know we want to attach it to Frank Porter, so I click on his name and we will click select right there, and now I can see that I have James M. Porter, J.M. Porter, Patty C. Porter, and it's Martha Howie, which we know Patty is her nickname. And then I'm going to be attaching it to Frank. And then as I look down here, I see Mary A. Porter, and this is his sister. And then we get to add an additional child. So I'm going to click compare here and add. I'm going to make a note that the father's name was James. And so we'll put down a reason here. This shows the Porter family in 1900. And click attach. Then I will add and attach that to Patty and Frank and attach that to Frank. and attach it to his sister Mary. We always want to add these middle options here. And now I'm going to add a new child. This is Thomas D. Porter, so I'm filling in his, they pre-filled in his name. I'm going to make sure that this is standardized, North Carolina, United States. And then I will create a new person. So now part 2 of that is to add this record to him after I've created it. Okay, so that gives me a really great opportunity to have attached that to every person in the family and to add a new child. I want to look at the image just to see what else it might be able to tell me. And so as I blow it up a little bit and look down here, the writing's not that great, but I can see I'm going to blow that up a little bit bigger. Here is Porter James N., head of household, Patty C., his wife, Mary A., Frank, and Thomas, their son. So as I look across here, it says that gives me the months of their births. So I can see that Mary was in June. Make a note of that so I can go change her page. And we noted Frank was there in March. His father, James Porter, his birth month was August 1865. And Patty's was August. And I make a note here that they were married for 5 years, and they have had 3 children, and 3 are living. So that confirms what I was thinking before. I do want to check his occupation to see if that is included. And he is a merchant in a dry goods store. That can be very helpful for me to know on future opportunities. So I'm going to click off that and now return back to Frank Porter's page. As you notice, once I added that, then additional records are going to pop up on the research help. So be sure that you're looking for all of those records and adding them. And as I look back on his sources and see where there were additional sources and records that I could look at, now it's showing that I've attached that record, and I can see as I click on that, the same Frank Porter with the same ID number, it's attached there. I can also look then under the 1900 census, and there's a lot more similar records. Some of them have shown up in Record Hints, but this is one way that I can find out a great deal more about the family. Thanks for watching.